Hello everyone, welcome back to another video collaboration with the creative design team. Today, Erin and I are wrapping up our week-long series featuring Christmas in July projects. Be sure to watch all of the videos that have been posted this week for tons of inspiration. If you've caught any of our videos, you all know by now that our exclusive Facebook membership group is currently open for registration. I'll talk about that in a little minute. Let's dive into this project because I'm really happy with how it turned out. Here's a sneak peek on a brand new product. These little gifts were meant for birthday celebration. They come with thin cuts, and I thought, how perfect would these be for Christmas cards? I've pulled this stamp here from my stash. It's pretty old, but it really fits nicely within that little spot. I did some coloring with the Spectrum Noir Marker, and if you hang out till the end, I will show you how I matched my colors to my cardstock. I'm also bringing in this beauty. This is a pull tab thin cut, and it provides an interaction pull tab for your card, and it is perfect for this little gift. When you pull it out, you get an additional little message right inside. So let's put this little pull tab together. It is really easy. There are 3 slots to allow the pull tab to go up and down. So a 2-inch, a 1.5, and a 1-inch. This one here is a 1.5, and this here is going to go right here at the top. And I've got my panel here that I've sprayed with white gloss spray. I thought it kind of looked like snow. And we're going to work on this front panel, and we're going to create that interaction for the little gift top to come up and down. I'm going to use some washi tape here, and basically what you need to do is you need to put your little circle, which will create a little notch at the top of this panel. So I'm just using my Versamat here just to line everything up. And I know that I've got a little sentiment here right at the bottom. I've got my little gift. And then this little topper here, I want that to move up and down. I'm just making sure that I have enough space for all of those pieces. And I figured I needed about 1 inch at the bottom, and I'm going to go up here 1.5 inches. And that's where I'm going to add that little thin cut, which creates a notch in this panel to allow that gift top to go up and down. Just double checking everything here, kind of eyeballing it, and I think that that's all going to work. I'm going to tack this down with washi tape, and I'm just going to go and cut that real quick, and we're going to remove this one right here. And then when you do remove them and they have washi tape, just pull gently on the washi tape. Now for this pull tab. Now there's a back side and a front. So the smooth is the front. So you're going to pull back on those 2 panels. I like to use a bone folder just to make sure everything is nice and flat. So I'm going to pull back on both of these. And then, do you see here there's like a little overlap? Let me get my camera to focus. There we go. So there's a little bit of overlap right here. So this is the front. It's nice and clean. And then the back side is the overlap. So hopefully you can also see now that I've got 2 score lines. So one right beside the pull tab. So that's the first one. I'm going to push that in. I'm going to pinch that with my nail. So you end up with kind of like a little T. And then I'm going to fold back. So it's kind of like a little accordion fold. So we're going to pull back on that. And that creates kind of like a little circle. And that's where you add your glue dot to secure the piece that you want to move up and down. So again, this is the back side. And I'm just going to glue everything together. So I like to run just like a tape runner right in the center. And then I'm going to make sure that that goes down nice and flat. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the second panel. I'm going to add some tape right here, and I'm going to lay that down as well. And that creates really good stability. Now you're going to work from the back side of your panel. You're going to squeeze those two together, kind of squeeze a little circle together. You're going to feed that through, and then you can kind of see how that's going to work. So that's going to go up and down, but first we have to address the actual pull tab. It's kind of like moving all over the place. So they've also included this awesome little sleeve. So you're just going to fold that on the score line. So all the score lines are there for you. Makes it super easy. And again, you're working from the back side. And this is the way that I found was the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the back, and I'm going to feed that over or under, if you want, my little pull tab. I'm going to make sure that everything is nice and straight. So I want to make sure that that pull tab is straight across the top where that half circle is. And then I'm going to push that down. You don't want to add any glue to this piece. That has to be free moving. And then you're going to fold that over. And then I'm going to add a tiny bit of glue. And I'm just going to close that off. And that secures that top piece really, really nicely. So now it's not all wonky and going everywhere. It's nice and stable. All right, so now that we've got that done, now we have to address our little gift. Now, it's a little bit tricky. You can eyeball some of this, but you kind of have to make sure everything is nice and straight. So that bottom little GIF, I'm going to have to use 3D foam tape. So I'm just using the narrow strip of foam tape, and I'm adding that on each side, and I'm really kind of hugging the edge of that little gift because I don't want that to interfere when I'm pulling the top. Now you'll see here that when I slide that down, there's no interference. It's going to work just fine. And for whatever reason, I decided to add a strip at the bottom. That's not needed. Sometimes when you make videos, you just kind of get distracted, I guess, and you really don't need that bottom piece. But if you put it down, that's not a problem. So I just went here and I grabbed a glue dot, and those are they stick really, really well. So I'm going to line up my panel against my Versamat, and I'm going to make sure everything is lining up. So I'm pulling back on my 3D foam tape, and then I'm going to line up these two pieces. I'm going to pop that right inside. I'm going to take a look at it. Yep, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to hold both pieces together at the same time. And then I'm just going to drop that on my card front. So I'm trying to make sure that it's in the center and it's nice and straight, because this is definitely a one and done. Once it's down, it's down. I'm going to push that in to make sure that it's grabbing on to the top, and there you have it. Isn't that cute? It just comes up and down, and it's actually pretty simple. I really like the interaction of that piece. And I guess I could have stamped my little sentiment a little bit higher, but I'm fine with it. So the next step here, because you need to have space for that pull tab to go up and down, you're going to have to add additional foam tape on this panel. So I tend to go all the way down and across. If you want to just put that in the four corners, I'm sure that would be fine. But I like to cover all of my bases, and I just line the entire panel. So that's going to go right on my card front. Everything is moving nicely. So I'm just going to center that just like so. And everything is moving, everything is going up and down. So at this point here, make sure that your pull tab is all the way down, and then just cut the excess. I'm just going to trim that off so that it doesn't fall outside of the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to add my little sentiment here, and I thought that it would kind of be fun just to add a little bit of foam tape right in the center, and then I'll just add a little bit of glue on either end. And then when you pop that on your card panel, it just gives it a little kind of pop in the center, and I thought that looked kind of good. All right. Isn't this fun? And I love that I was able to use a birthday stamp set and thin cut and turn it into Christmas cards. So this little topper here is a decorative piece, and when you add it on the edge or the cut edge of your pull tab, first and foremost, it cleans it off and it looks really nice. And then there's a tiny little arrow that hopefully the recipient is going to zoom in on and be able to realize that, oh, there's a little arrow pointing up, so there must be an interaction here. So that's how it all works out. So I'm doing a top folding card here, and we're just going to go ahead and finish the assembly of this card. Now, while I'm just putting this card together, I just wanted to talk to you about the exciting news that we have at the Creative Design team. Have you ever wished that you had 8 crafty friends that were somewhat obsessed with scrapbooking and card making? Well, that's what we offer in our exclusive group. We do all of the research, we do all of the planning, and we even break down step by step all of the techniques that we share. You can follow along with each creative class, or you can do it at your own pace because we also provide printables for every class. All right, so back to this card right here. So this one's a little bit easier, I found, to eyeball because I was lining up that bottom GIF with the stitched edge on my panel, and then I know that I want this slot to run across that ribbon if you want. So I'm going to bring in my T-ruler. I found that it's come in quite handy. So I'm going to bring it in, and I am going to line up that little gift. I'm going to just put a little mark so that I know where to set it down. And then for this one right here, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up my T-ruler, and I'm going to do a little line right here for the slot. Just double checking here that it's in the middle of my ribbon. And it is. So now I know that my little gift part is going to sit right nicely in that corner. So I want to make sure everything is nice and straight. I'm going to bring in my little circle to create the notch. And those two pieces need to be in line with each other. So that's why I'm taking the time to tack them down with washi tape. So you can see that I've got those right in line. My little gift is going to go at the bottom. So I'm going to pull back very gently. You kind of have to be kind of gentle when you pull back on the washi tape because it's been squished in your embossing machine. Sometimes it can rip the front of your pattern paper, and we don't want that. So we're going to do that pull tab one more time. Why not, right? It's a new toy, so just want to make sure you understand the mechanics of it all. So you're folding back onto these two panels. So these two panels are going backwards, and then you're gonna use your bone folder and you're gonna make them nice and flush, or flat, I should say. And then you're gonna add glue to these two pieces. And really, when you take cardstock and you fold it in 3 times, like that creates a nice little pull. It's nice and sturdy, and I really liked to add a little bit of glue all the way down on both of those panels. I'm going to push that down. And then here I'm showing you once again that little T, I guess, is the top part of it. I'm going to fold that in and fold it out, so it's kind of an accordion fold. Creates that little circle. We're going to feed that through from the back side. You can tell my back side is a little bit ugly, I guess. I wasn't too careful when I actually added a little bit of black marker along that black edge, so I was not being too careful. So this is that little sleeve, so you fold that again on the 2 score lines, and then we're going to add that to the back side, and that's really just a stabilizing piece, just so that that pull tab doesn't go wonky on you. So we're going to add a little bit of glue on the back, and then I'm going to slip that right in back of the pull tab. I'm going to make sure that it's straight across that circle, which is like that little notch. I'm going to push that down. Make sure to not add any glue here, because we want that to move up and down, right? I'm going to fold that back, add a tiny bit of glue here, and there you have that little sleeve that keeps everything nice and aligned. All right, so we're in business. We've got our little pull tab. Now we just have to add our little gift. So I'm going to bring you here a little bit closer so you can kind of see how it all works out. So I want to make sure that my top gift can slide up and down. So I'm using a little bit of foam tape. Just going to make sure that it has to clear that bottom part, and it has to be nice and flush with the edge of the present. So I'm going to do that on both sides. I'm not sure if you notice, but the top present that comes up and down, there's a little bit of a bigger box at the bottom, so you want to make sure that you are not interfering with any of that. So just like before, we're going to add a glue dot, and these are really nice and strong. So I'm just going to pop that right onto that little centerpiece. And then I'm going to take my 2 pieces, I'm going to remove the backing on my 3D foam tape, and then we're going to drop this down right on the panel. So I just want to make sure that my top is straight with the bottom, and then I'm going to hold them together. And this is really nice and easy because I can line up my bottom gift with the stitch line on that panel. And I'm going to push that down, and there we go. Isn't that cute? So you've got a little present that comes out of the big present. All right, so this little piece again is from this thin cut, and it shows the recipient on how to pull up, because not everybody knows exactly what to do with interactive cards sometimes. So I think that this is a really good indicator. So I'm going to pop that panel right on the front. And of course I did use 3D foam tape here because you need to give yourself some room for that pull tab to go up and down. So I'm going to add some glue right here, and I am making sure that I've got a generous amount of glue because anytime I do an interactive card, I want to make sure that it's going to stay intact. So we're going to pop that right on the card base. Just going to tap that into position. And then I'm going to add the word joy. So this was cut out of the slim alphabets. I really like that thin cut, and I will link everything that's available down below. But I thought that that was kind of cute. So you've got the word joy, and then when you do the pull tab, I'm not sure if it's going to catch on camera here. Let me just trim this down first. So I'm going to trim this down. I'm going to add the little decorative piece to the top, just adding a little bit of glue on both sides. So let's pull that up. I really like the way that it just finishes off the pull tab, and it's got a little arrow so that the recipient knows to pull, and that's the little arrow. And see here it says Happy Holidays. I really like the way that that turned out. All right, so this is my project for my Christmas in July, and let's jump into the coloring. And but first, let me show you here very quickly. So this is how I stamped all of my pieces, because when you add the thin cuts, you have to make sure you leave yourself some room right here for the pull tab. And then you've got this piece here. So it's kind of nice because you can run them all in one go. So these are the two colors that I wanted to match with the markers that we have. So these are tri-blend markers. And I'm going to start right here with the dark red blend. And I'm going to use the mid-tone. And I'm just coloring here. Really just basic coloring. I'm going to add the color to the outside of all of the bow. So I'm just going to run that across. And there's no shading at this point. It's very basic coloring, because I was trying to really match the color of the cardstock. So the cardstock that I used here is Scarlet. And the green that you see on screen is a brand new color. It is called Pine, and I really, really love it. So I thought I would try and match that out. So here you saw me, I swapped out to the dark shade of the blend. And then I'm going to bring the darkest shade of the shades, say that 3 times. And here I am adding a little bit of a shadow line. So that looks really good, and it's not that complicated. However, the color is off. So I'm going to basically bring in my secret weapon here, and this is the coral shades. So you can see right away as I'm adding this on top, it's really changing the color of the red to match the cardstock. And basically, when you're looking at your markers and you're looking at any cardstock that you're trying to match, always think of what color is missing here. And in this case, I needed a tiny little bit of orange or coral. And I think that that really did the trick. So I'm basically sandwiching those two colors together. I started with the red, and then I did the coral, and then I went back with another shade of red, and I think that it worked out really, really nice. So same thing here with the green, nothing fancy. I am just coloring those in, just straight up coloring. And although I really love the dull green, it's not the right color. So again, bringing in a little bit of vintage blue, and just like that, you can see how it matches the pine color in the cardstock. You let it dry a little bit, you add a second coat, and I just think that that worked out really, really nicely. So how do you match your colors with your cardstock? Do you blend your markers? Do you add that different shade that is missing? Because I think in this case here, it worked out perfectly. You see that it's got a really nice color with the green and the red, and everything is really, really nice. I kind of like it when my colors match. Since we're featuring Christmas in July, what's Christmas without a little gift? When you join this week, you will receive a handy sketchbook to jumpstart your creativity with both sketches and artwork. Now remember, the doors will close on July 17th. If you're already a member and you want to get your hands on that sketchbook, invite a friend and you'll both get our Christmas gift. Don't forget to look at all of the inspiration and check out Erin's video. She's posting today too. Have a great day.